what an honor it is to be here. Only Southern California could drag me out of the deer woods to come and talk fishing. So it's really great to be here. I've never been to Southern California. We've been fortunate enough to be in Northern California, up at Clear Lake in the Delta a few times. But you know, when Triton asked me to come and be at a boat show, I said, where in the world are they going to have a boat show in November? You know, and then they told me Southern California. But no, it's an honor to be here. It's really exciting. I get fired up, and you know, you're coming here to learn from me. I come here to learn and see all the crazy baits you guys throw out there and see if there's something I can't take home and you know, maybe use out there on the tournament trail and have some success. But like you were saying, I just wanted to, you know, share a little bit with you of, you know, kind of my year and, you know, the reason I had the success I had. And then hopefully if we have some time, I'll talk to you a little bit about our tight line UV plastics and a new bait that we've got coming out on the market as well. You know, Angler of the Year for me was truly an amazing season. I mean, it's what we all dream about as professional fishermen. And you know, if you ask any pro out there, it's probably the toughest title in our sport to win. And never at this time last year did I ever, you know, I mean, it's what I dreamed about. But you know, if somebody told me a year later I'd be a, you know, Angler of the Year winner, I mean, it's just been incredible. But it started a lot sooner than last February at, you know, or last March when our Elite Series started. It actually started a year before, or back in June. We wrapped up the 2011 season, and I squeaked into the Bassmasters Classic. It was not my best year of performances. Had really a slump there. I had 4 straight tournaments in a row where I couldn't cash a check, and I mean, you know, your confidence really dwindles then. And I knew I wasn't fishing to the best of my ability. I'm getting a little bit older, turned 40 this year, so you know, I just knew I wasn't in the shape I needed to be in. My tackle wasn't organized like I needed to be in, so I knew I needed to step it up. So last June when that season ended, I squeaked into the Classic. I mean, it was such a relief. I knew this year I had to step it up, and as of last June, I started working out, had a trainer, a gentleman that helped me get in the best physical shape I could be in. This guy, he's an expert in the field. I mean, he's a fisherman and a hunter, so he understands the rigors that a bass fisherman goes through, and knew what to work on and, you know, get me in the best shape possible, and that's what we started to do. And then I'd spend, you know, every free moment that I wasn't deer hunting in October and November in my garage or at our shop, working on my fishing tackle, working on my boat, getting everything ready for this season. So, you know, when things started off this year, first term of the year for me was actually the Bassmaster Open at Lake Louisville. I've always wanted to start my year with a tournament before the Bassmasters Classic, because, you know, it typically, you know, you end the season and then you go 4, 5, 6 months without a tournament, and then it's right into the Bassmasters Classic. So it's kind of a desire of mine to start the season with a tournament before the Bassmasters Classic. So I opted to fish the Bassmaster Opens, had everything ready, went down to Lake Louisville in Dallas, Texas, and, you know, we had a really mild winter last year until we went to that tournament. And I went down there, and, you know, it's a week and a half before the Classic, and I was just excited to get on the water. And I knew it was going to be a tough fishing there, but I didn't know it'd be as tough as it was. And I hadn't fished in a while, and got down there, and lo and behold, I get a really bad cold. And, you know, one of those that just makes you tired, don't feel well, all that. And got out there, the fishing was terrible, and, you know, if you're not feeling good and the fishing's tough, I mean, my mind was just not really into that tournament. I was just like, I got to survive this tournament and get better for this upcoming Bassmasters Classic. Well, I'd found one little place at that tournament that I felt good about, and you know, kind of leading up to this, you know, this was my 17th year out on the tournament trail, and there's one thing I've learned about fishing at this level is you've got to be versatile. You know, everybody knows Van Dam's a power fisherman, but I've seen Van Dam catch a lot of fish on a you know, spinning rod as well, and that's something I've learned over the years and really, you know, been driven, is to be as versatile as I can possibly be, and this year really reflects that. Back to Lake Louisville, I had one little place on that lake that I felt good about, and you know, I was feeling so bad I didn't even go out the last day of practice. I just wanted to get better, survive the tournament, and get on to the Classic. Well, you know, having one spot isn't always a bad thing. Happened to get a decent draw that first day of the tournament. I run right to this little creek and put my power poles down. I mean, I'm like, there's a little bend in the creek. I knew there's going to be a lot of boats in there, but I said, I'm going to get to that bend, and I'm going to commit to it. It's a deep hole. And got in there, started fishing our little tight lines finesse worm around just on a little Texas rig, kind of doing the Aaron Martins thing, just shaking it, just working it real slow. And I think that first day caught a pretty good bag of fish. Next day, I think I caught one fish. And then the third day, you know, I thought I was just going out, you know, the winter, I was like 8 pounds behind. I go out the third day and I catch 3 fish for like 8 pounds and come up with a tie. And never in a million years I think I could be 8 pounds behind the leader and actually have a tie for the deal. And then we have a fish off. Well, we go out that last day, and I don't think I've ever caught a fish in my whole career on a wacky worm in a bass tournament. Well, my co-angler the second day had caught a couple keepers behind me on a wacky worm, and that last day was the third day when we tied. It was brutal. It was like 20 degrees. I get to my first spot. There's spray coming off the water. I looked like a glazed donut when I stood up. All the ice fell off of me. Had ice in my guides till like 12 or 2:30 that day. It was brutal. And you know, but I caught a decent bag of fish. Well, they told us we tied. You know, all I wanted to do was get through that tournament and get some rest and, you know, get feeling better, and dead tired. And they told us we had to go out and fish again the next day. Had a fish off, and went out that day. It was brutal cold. Get to my spot, the water temperature dropped like 5 degrees overnight, and I was just like, how am I going to catch a fish here? I tried my little worm around, nothing. I'm like, well, I'm going to try the wacky worm. About my third or fourth cast I throw out there. Thank goodness in that tournament we get to use a net, scoop it up, and I catch a 6.5 that day, and it was the only fish between the two of us that we caught, and I won the tournament. Well, what that did is it really opened the door for me, because it qualified me for the Bassmasters Classic. And I hadn't even started our Elite Series season. So I go to the Classic, I'm all fired up, and I really had some, you know, high hopes there, and wasn't my best of Classics, but, you know, my hat's off to Chris Lane. I mean, it was truly his tournament to win. So then we go straight into our Elite Series season. I've already got the Bassmasters Classic sewed up, and I said, you know, this year, I said, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. If there's some crazy idea of something I want to do, I'm going to do it. And we go to the first tournament of the year, the St. Johns River down in Florida, and I finished 4th. Crazy deal, you know, here, you know, typically everybody fishes Lake George, you know, to get off to a good start. Well, there's this lake about a 45-minute boat ride on down the chain, and I'm like, you know, something was telling me to go down and check out this lake. So I went down there. You had to idle through it for like 10 miles down all this crazy. It was crazy. It took like 2.5 hours to get there, but I get there and pretty much had this lake to myself, and ended up, I caught my fish there sight fishing on our UV hog and a UV Inco, and like I said, finished 5th there and got off to a really good start for the season. And then we go to Lake Okeechobee, which, you know, Lake Okeechobee is kind of like Clear Lake out here. I mean, it's an incredible fishery, and they said it was fishing really good. I knew it was going to be a heavyweight tournament. Go there, and you know, it's really amazing. I got on a really good bite with our UV Inco, just a little stick worm bait down there, just flipping it around. Well, I had this spot that I was just convinced I was going to hammer them in. Go down there the first day of the tournament, like halfway through the day, I got 5 that weigh like 8 pounds. Cannot catch a good fish, and you know, another one of those deals that's like, you know, I had one bite up here on this west wall area that, you know, was a pretty nice one. I said, I got to go do something different. I go up there where I had one bite in practice, and I think I caught 16 pounds out of there and salvaged it, had a decent start. I go back the next day, put on a 3/4 ounce black and blue jig, start flipping it around, and caught like 23 or 24 pounds and jumped way up there. Go back the next day, catch another 20-something pounds. And it was really amazing just to get dialed in off of one bite that I had in practice. The area that I thought was going to be so good just petered out on me, wasn't worth a darn, but that area where I had that one bite was just really incredible, and how it panned out. So I ended up 5th at Okeechobee, and at that point I'm a little frustrated because here I have a 4th and a 5th place finish, and I'm not leading angler of the year. Skeet Reese was.